Shouldn't be able to see my fingers like that. Oh, this is bad. Hey everybody, Jim Midnight Road Garage, and tonight, trying to get some work done on the 65 C-10. Follow along, we'll see if we can get some trailing arms put on. You may have seen an earlier video on the truck where when replacing the springs that didn't exist because the previous owner just cut them out, I found out that the passenger side trailing arm was completely rusted through. So I had to order up some new trailing arms, and quite frankly, these tubular trailing arms were only slightly more expensive than the stock style, so I went with tubular because, well, this truck's not stock anyways. Also in, finally, are the 3-inch drop shocks. These were on back order for, I don't know, seemed like forever, but it was probably just a couple months. And then also we do have new hardware kits. I bought complete new hardware kits for the trailing arms. And that's mostly because when I put the springs in, pretty much every bolt broke. So I already know this is going to be an uphill battle. Alright, let's dig in. Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit. I've actually already completed the job, and here are the tools that I used to complete this job. That is right. I used a wire brush on some of the rust, some rust reformer on, again, some of the rust. Leatherman for opening a bunch of packages. Did not use the impact that much, mostly just for taking the wheels off. It's not that tight, but you just can't get an impact in there. I did use this massive breaker bar, though, and you will need one. If you don't have a breaker bar, you should probably get one. We are going to need an 1 1/8 and an 1 1/16. Well, 1 1/8, 1 1/16. And then you're going to need a 3/4 socket and a 3/4 wrench for dealing with the shocks. You'll need a 1/2 inch. I ended up using this to help split some rusty parts that were literally stuck together with rust. So you may not need this, but I certainly did. 1 1/16 and 1 3/16 open end wrenches. You'll definitely need those. Screwdriver, may or may not need. I used it to help line the shock bolts. Can of WD-40, definitely handy. And a hammer. Definitely going to need a hammer. Also, don't forget jack stands and a floor jack. I've already got the rear of the truck supported by some jack stands. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take the rear wheels off on both sides. Now here's our game plan. We've got to get this bolt over here loose first. We're also going to need to take the bolt out that is holding in the spring. And then this giant U-bolt needs to come out. Now again, I have all new hardware because you can see this is rusted pretty bad. So if this doesn't come out easily, we'll just cut it off. First up, we're going to try and just loosen up the bolt on the front of the trailing arm. See if we can get that loose. Alright, well, it took a little bit of persuading, but it's loose now. Got all the nuts off, and I'm about ready to hit this thing with a hammer to see if I can get it out the rest of the way. You can see how nasty and rusty it is in there. It's kind of stuck. Alright, wish me luck. This side's now loose, and we're doing this one at a time, so I'm going to get this one out the rest of the way, and then put the new one in. Well, it's a new day, and it's time to install some new parts. This goes in the same way it came out. Just put that up in there. Bolt through. Washer. This is a big lock nut. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. Next up, we're going to drop the U-bolt in. Shock plate ready. Put our plate on, and then the washers and the nuts. Before I tighten that up, I'm going to go ahead and install the spring cup and the bolt for that. Okay, that's a little bit better. Well, we're pretty much done on this side. can see our trailing arm is installed and good to go. Springs all set up. I have not put the shock on yet. Turns out the shocks I ordered did not come with dust boots, so I'm going to order some dust boots for them. This side is fighting me all the way. I cannot get the breaker bar past the trailing arm when I'm bringing it down. I figured out why. I can't wait to show you. It is the hammer of justice. Maybe not. Yeah. Alright, well, maybe I'll just soak in WD-40 overnight and smack it with a hammer in the morning. What do you think the odds are that trailing arm fell off overnight? I'm gonna guess slim to none. Well, didn't fall off overnight, so I guess the beatings will continue. Now I can move it sideways a little bit. Hopefully I can get the breaker bar past it and be able to turn it more than like a 1/16 of a turn. Oh, much better. This is going to be a while. Let me turn you off. You'll be super bored by this. Here's a good look at the old one and the new one side by side. You can see the new one's a little bit trimmer, yet beefier at the same time. The way this is constructed, it's basically two pieces of metal riveted together with a couple holes in it. Let's get that passenger side up here. So I think it's pretty easy to see why we needed to replace these. This is the passenger side, and it is not supposed to look like that at all. In fact, you can see that some of these rivets here, they have completely let loose, rusted through, and this gap is actually much wider than the one on the driver's side. Although this one looks like its days were numbered as well. Oh, so close to being done with this job. Got one shock absorber to go, and then just put the wheels back on. Finally, the job's complete. You can see we've got new tubular trailing arms, new 3-inch drop springs, new 3-inch drop shocks, and some new U-bolts, which I definitely am going to cut, but not today. I still need to do the rear brake lines on this rear end, so when I do that, I'll cut those at that time. It has been a long couple days working on this truck, but making good progress. So be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. There are more videos on this truck. There will be more videos on this truck. There's also videos on that Camaro that you see behind me, and lots of other stuff. So I'll see you guys down the road.